Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending my session. Future viewers, I apologize now. I'm going to walk. It helps my process. So, this session is about a web component. And actually, it's about what this web component solves, which is a scheduling problem. So, I'm going to start with who I am, which I rarely do. But um, I just wanted to highlight that I just became a dad, and which is why you might see me tired, but it's okay. So also another thing, yesterday in the during the dinner, we had a nice conversation with Christian Smith and other people about how we started doing this business. I started as a client, which is actually interesting. I had a failed FileMaker project with the developer that worked for my project, and I said, okay, I'll do it on my own. And it was my family business. We were multinational back then, um, and I found out that I enjoyed FileMaker development more than women's shoes. So here I am. Lately, besides my adorable baby, I'm really focusing on the web viewer. I love the web viewer. There are so many things you can do with it, and I think that's the key on extending, unleashing the FileMaker platform, at least the FileMaker Pro side of things. And also, I have not used this for like 10 years, so some acknowledgements. This session is sponsored by Bryntum, who is the vendor of the web component I'm going to present. I'm not affiliated with Bryntum, but they sponsored my visit here. So this is why this is happening. Free ticket. No. So we're going to cover some features of the web component, how you can get it with a couple of clicks in your FileMaker solution, and how you can customize it if you do know web code, or if you have, or you can hire someone that does web code. And actually, this is very interesting because I'll give you the tools so you can get a web developer that has no FileMaker knowledge, and they can work no problem at all. Come on. Maybe I'll just. Okay. So what is the web component? It's called Bryntum is the company. Scheduler Pro is one of their products. There's also Scheduler and other products that we're not going to cover right now. The the company is targeting developers, so the product is for us, and we embed it in our application so we can give that functionality to our users. Um, it's a very professional tool. It comes with a cost. So what I have done is for free. You would still need to buy the web component. So yeah, you may go to the other panel if you. No, it's okay. Um, we're going to view some examples. We're going to explain how to read the documentation. We're going to go through the installation process on FileMaker, and we're also going to do the development cycle. Um, yeah, out of sync. So it's a very advanced tool. It is used by actually I had no idea how many companies and how big they are until I created this. This tool is being used by the big ones, and it has detailed documentation. It has outstanding capabilities. I did a research, and you know, out of elimination for the project that I'm going to discuss what the project was about, I ended up using this tool. And some of the companies, this is actually real estate, I started like creating the slide, and I said, okay, there are just too many. Besides all those big companies, they have a lot of airplane companies. They have the big four like PwC, Deloitte, everyone, banks. It's like everywhere. So it's a very important um, tool for developers. Hello. Um, so Scheduler Pro is the one that we are going to go through. Scheduler is its brother without some features, and those are the other components that exist in their platform, let's say. Um, we plan to also create a driver for FileMaker for the lean version for the scheduler. But with it's if you are into web development, using the same logic, you could extend it to the other ones. So let's go through some examples. I have some screenshots, but it would be easy, more exciting if we did a live example. Okay, so actually, let's start from the beginning. You would need to go to their website. So to get started, you don't see my screen. To get started, you would go to Bryntum website, and you would go under products. No, you would go to free trial. If you want to start from scratch, you would enter your information, and they will send you a zip folder, and via email, and this is where we start. Or if you don't do that, you can just use my add-on, which is it has a trial version which expires on end of this year, so it's a very extended trial, and we will probably extend it more. This is how the email is going to look like. So you're going to get this email. You can download the content if you want to start from scratch. Otherwise, you can just use the add-on to create to use my trial. So um, let's open the examples. Probably would be easier if I mirror the screen. Mirror the place. I love the touch keyboard. So this is the folder that you're going to get in a zip folder. I unzipped it, and I'm just going to drop it in VS Code. Nothing fancy here, and I'm just going to launch a quick simple server just to view what we have here. So those are some use cases. Um, this one is a nice one. There is a map integration using Mapbox, and there are tasks. Those tasks are connected to the map, and users can, the connection can be seen. Um, Events can be drag and dropped, of course. You have those are the resources on the left. Those resources are um, e tasks need to be assigned to resources. Resources could be people, it could be machinery, it could be things that need tasks. And if you double click, you'll see this is the card window. Um, Up to effort, this is the default card window, and then the travel to and travel from is customizing the card window. In the examples we're going to give you, you'll also have examples on how to create your own fields, as well as pointing FileMaker values to those value lists. And this is just the map integration. Then there is this is obviously for the airline companies. You have like a flight map. You can go, you can view the flight, of course, you can change it, you can, this one doesn't, of course, allows to change resources. the component is fully customizable. According to Bryntum, you can do whatever you want. Um, well, whilst this statement is for a FileMaker developer, I'm not sure if it's 100% right, but from my experience, whatever I needed to do, I could do it. So it is customizable. Another one is this is nice because those are slots. So those are resources with predefined slots, and then we are assigning tasks or events or inventory to slots. So it would look like this. You drag and drop to an available slot, and this is how you do the allocation. And this one has also an auto reschedule. So if you have, for example, inventory that need to be dispatched, and you have specific amount of vehicles, you can do auto schedule, and it will automatically populate all those tasks on the resources. On top of that, not this one, yep, also this one. There are some constraints. So one of the reasons why I bumped into this product is because you can define constraints. So for example, this parcel needs to leave today. Um, a job needs to be completed on that day, or dependencies. Um, in order to load the package on the truck, the package needs to be packaged, for example, and things like that. So there are constraints to fully automate this process and have a proper schedule. By the way, mm, if you have an important question, you can interrupt me if you want. I'll I'll take as many as I can get if I don't break my schedule. Okay, um, if something makes sense. Um, Basically, what you want to do is using those examples, you can grab the code of the example. So for example, the one we let's show this one. This is a nice one. This one, it showcases the workload per resource based on the tasks that are assigned on the resource. So you can see that this resource has there is a configuration that the maximum is 8 hours worth of effort, and so this resource is maxed out. Um, this one is called resource histogram. So what you might want to do with your developer is go to the resource histogram, and this is how it works. Um, this is the code that initializes the widget. There is a very big documentation explaining all those attributes. I don't really use them because from the examples, I can get to where I want. But if I need to, I pass it to our web development team, and then they get it done. Moving forward, let's go back to our keynote. I will miss the touch the touch bar. Yeah, I love this. Um, so I have some examples also in screenshots. You can also have dark mode. It's the flight dispatch we saw. It's the slot scheduling with auto reschedule. The one with a workload. There's also the nested events. So it's like a task and subtasks setup. So you can say to dispatch this order, you need to load it in the truck, to generate a delivery note and invoice, and all those tasks are combined into completing a parent task, for example. We also have this one that uh, you can visualize the constraints. So this constraint says that you can, to start doing this, you need to do this first. And what this helps us with will we'll cover it when I explain the use case. And we also have like nice UI. There are so many examples you can look. So for this one, you can see like the progress of each task based on estimation on the completion rate. So you can do like stunning UI in FileMaker. Um, so how did I end up using this? So we have a client that is a beer factory, a new beer factory, and it looks a lot like the beer factory we went on the first day. And a beer factory, they produce like many labels of beer, and usually they have some kind of bottleneck. So the process is like boiling the raw materials and then doing some extractions, some filtering, um, making the hot liquid cold, storing it so the hops start producing some alcohol, and then putting it in another container, which is a cylinder, to package it up. This process has some bottlenecks. So the beer factory knew what that bottleneck was. It was a specific pre-packaging container that the beer went before being packaged, and they needed like to be extra accurate to be able to not lose production time. Why? Because if on a Friday they didn't complete the packaging process of the beers, then the beer would be a waste because it would stay 2 more days doing the alcohol hops process that it shouldn't. So on a Friday, they should complete the beers that have stayed the amount of days that needed to stay still, and plan the beers that need to be um, all this alcohol process to be done. So the requirements was we need a scheduling tool that everything is connected to each other, and when we need to reschedule because something went wrong, the whole dependency tree moves. Because if you start boiling something and there are all those steps that need to go through, if the boiling starts a day later, the whole process goes a days later. So they initially did a numbers file, and when they had like a, a change occurred, they needed like to copy paste each slot, like 10 slots each time. It looks like that. So I just did a simple example with Amstel and Heineken. You can see that this production line, the Heineken, is connected to the Heineken. So when we move the Heineken tree, it all moves along, and the red is Amstel. And I think you can already see what is the bottleneck. It's the PBT, and it's just a container. Don't worry about the. You can see that this is the bottleneck because this is the only resource where you don't have like flex. So what we wanted to do is it is a big project. The budget is right, the use case is right. We wanted to provide a modern, intuitive tool to do this scheduling, and that's why we ended up doing this. We tried using full calendar. We tried using some other components that were open source, free, but they just couldn't deliver what we needed. Um, this one, it had constraints that we needed, like the example I told you with a Friday, that everything needs to be dispatched, and it had constraints, and moving the whole tree moves the whole dependency group of events, of tasks. And we're using the new execute FileMaker data API write operations, which means that when the web component interacts with FileMaker, it doesn't do like Windows somewhere outside the monitor, etc. Yep. Execute FileMaker.api. the script step, yes. Yep. So, demo. Um, I have this one. Um, let's do the hosted version. Oops, you don't see that. So this is like a stripped version of the actual file. I'm going to mirror again. So we can see some events here, but because the default view is on a different time range, they just don't look like. But this is an infinite canvas, so you can zoom and scroll as long as you want. Here, what I did was I just took the engage view events and I just put them here in the timeline, so you could see like the schedule. I didn't do today though. Yeah, I just do pins, or you can set the zoom level from here, like this. You can specify date range, etc. Filter tasks. You can add colors, and all those options are customizable. You can add other options, so you could have something. For example, the edit button, a FileMaker dot perform script with option, and it fires a FileMaker script, or you can customize everything. Yeah. This is how the event like. This is the default card window, by the way. I'm using the material theme, and the FileMaker theme is actually a theme provided by Proofgeist. It was created by Ernest Coe, and it's a material design theme for FileMaker, and it's available for free also. So the intention here was this is a material design, and FileMaker is also a material design. So I was trying to match the designs so the FileMaker theme doesn't look, um, you know, strange when you have a web viewer. And then we can have like constraints. We can create constraints by just dragging and dropping the dots here, and it's just creating a constraint. And for example, if I move now this, it will also move um, the fika, the the break. Um, so just to see how this looks like, I'm using FM Gopher with FM Mock. Um, FM Gopher is a great tool to do the FileMaker dance. It creates a promise. It handles the response from FileMaker with a promise. And the reason why I'm using this is because it's coupled with FMOC. This is available um, in GitHub, on GitHub for free, of course. It was created by Josh Willing, who is a very good online friend of mine. And the power of this tool is that if you couple it with FMOC, you can you can just copy a file of what execute FileMaker.api returns, give it to your web developer. The web developer stores it as a simple file, and they can work with what the FileMaker would have responded. So this is why I'm using that. I'm having like a big script, like a global, let's say, script to handle all the scripts coming from the web viewer, and that is just um, firing a script. This is a very simple script. For example, if it's update data, it's just going to run for each table that has been modified. The layout name is hard-coded with a naming convention. If it's a create, update, delete, it's going to do the relevant execute FileMaker.api. It's just execute FileMaker.api, create, update, delete. And there's just one thing: if a new record is created, the web component is going to create a temporary ID, and then FileMaker needs to get the real ID back. That's it. And when this is done, FileMaker data is updated, and it all is synced. We can also customize in this default setup the offset. So, for example, let's say that the dispatch needs some padding, or it needs another process. We can, like, say there's an offset of 1 hour. Now you have created that dependencies tree with 1 hour in between. So clearly, this tool has advanced capabilities. I'm not going to make it. Let's go fast. So it's fully customizable. One very cool thing is creating an add-on brings all the custom functions in your file, and I didn't like that because if you're going to use the add-on, it's going like my custom functions are going to like flood your solution. So what I did is I created a tool which unfortunately I cannot show it to you. That it does just the following. You enter all the custom functions that you want to use, and it will just package them all in one. It's not this one. Let's go to the examples. Examples. Okay. So this is how it looks like. The one custom function that is being used, BSP functions. So this is minimized all the custom functions that we're being using. We just similarly to MBS, they are compacted in one function, and then you define the function name and the arguments, and it's a minimized version, and this ends up all the custom functions we were using just being one. I found it really cool. So going back to the installation process, we created an add-on. The trial version that comes with the add-on will end 2024. I'm going to give you a promo code that if you want to buy the tool, and the promo code is valid until end of 2024 as well. And the code base is fully customizable, and you can download the add-on from this web page. Is on GitHub. If you want the QR code, you can use it right now. This will take you to our GitHub repository, which is a public one, and you can just download the repository as a whole, and there is a file that will just install the add-on on your FileMaker machine. So you download the code, or you use clone CLI command if you like it better, and you just grab this file, you double click it, and that's it. The add-on is on your computer. So you do that, you then go to your add-ons. If you don't know, it's on the leftmost section. Right there, you'll have our add-on. You add it in your file, and that's it. So let's see how it works. I'm going to create a new file. Let's call it engage demo, and that's it. It's a clean file, nothing in it. I'm just going to go to add-ons, click the plus button here, select the add-on. It will give you some information on what it's going to add in tables, layouts, and scripts, and that's it. You drag and drop the component in FileMaker, and that's all of it. For the first, only the first time, you need to grab the code. You just click this cog button, and the initialize Bryntum Scheduler Pro is just going to get the code from our servers, and that's it. and it's also going to ask you if you want some sample data because we're submitting this in the Claris marketplace. It is required um, to have some sample data. Okay, it's done, and now you can just grab the web viewer, do whatever you want with it. I'm just going to make it bigger and allow it to expand, and that's it. And here's my Scheduler Pro, as easy as that. Okay, any questions? Okay, great. So um, I would I would want more time for this. How many of you are comfortable using VS Code? Okay. Um, I'm going to skip the customization part. I'm just going to say that um, if you just in the repository that I pointed you, there's there is documentation, step-by-step guide of what I would just demonstrate now. But since not all of you are comfortable with that, I think it would be better if we just focused on some examples. So um, all the examples we have built are there. There is the npm package as well. The uh, if you want to start completely from scratch, you can just get this FileMaker driver that connects Bryntum with FileMaker. It's the execute FileMaker.api I think you saw. And we have some ready examples you can use, and there's a step-by-step guide. You just go step by step and you'll get there. I just tested it, so it works. Um, Besides this, we created some ready FileMaker examples. So whilst this all works nicely, if you want to start from an example that is a little more complicated, it might have like a different schema. Um, what you need to do in this occasion, you just need to create a table following the naming convention, and it will just work. Or if it's just using another name as a table, so for example, there are 4 tables in this file, which is the events, the resources, the assignments, which is a joint table between events and resources, and the dependencies. So if you want to use an example that for it might say that the events are tasks, you just change the name to task and it works. Um, if you don't, you can just use already examples. We have the grid, the dragging and dropping. I think this is the best use case for us. You know, you have a client that they have inventory that they need to allocate. I think this is the most useful example. We have done this in the past with full calendar, but I think this is best. We also have ah we also have a hosting example of just to demonstrate that you can also do icons. So here, it needs to be hosted because execute FileMaker.api needs to return a proxy URL. You can have like nice icons. I know it wasn't the best I chose, but I just wanted to demonstrate in this example that you can use icons for the resources as well. Um, we have the flight dispatch if you have an airplane company for a client. So the example you saw is this one. You can create an event right here and SKG Frankfurt. I- yep. So the airplane example is ready to be used. The map box needs a key, and then we have the plan versus actual example, which is I think it's more applicable for us when we schedule a task to be done in 8 hours, and it takes something more. Um, you can like view the plan dates instead, and the actual dates. So those are the examples that you can get from this repository, so you can get started. And let's go back. So this is how you can customize it um, in the repository. Um, we make a reference that we are using, as I said, FMGopher, FMOC. We use Vite for our development environment. Vite is just a simple hot replacing server on your VS Code. It's very lightweight and it's very popular as well. It's fashionable now. Um, and how much does it cost? The Scheduler Pro, which is like the big version of it, you can use the scheduler if you don't want the dependencies and those extra features. It costs 1,100 per developer. So if you have one web developer, you just buy one license and you deploy to like 100 clients. So the licensing is per developer. Um, the first two developers, I think it's 1,300, something more than that. Um, of course, if you just if you're an in-house developer, it might be more expensive for you. But if you're an agency, it of course you can use it in all your clients, so it might be a no-brainer. Um, our integration is free. All the repository, the examples, the add-on we are going to publish it on the Claris marketplace, and you would still need to get your Bryntum license. And you can use this Engage You promo code, which will give you 20% discount until the end of the year. So that's it. Let's recap and introduce the QA. The reason why I stood to that tool is because I wanted to create like a unique user experience in the scheduling of a beer factory, which is a big thing, and I wanted to deliver something unique. I did my research and I found that this web component was the best for my use case. Um, Thanks to our collaboration with the vendor, we said let's create an add-on and put it in the FileMaker community because Bryntum said that they had at least a couple of requests every year to use this tool. You are also one? Great. So this is why we created it. And you can extend with the FMGopher and FMMock setup. If you don't know web code, you can just get someone online, say this is what I want. The documentation is extensive. They don't need FileMaker to play with it because of FMMock, and you are done. Thank you. And now it's time to do the QA. Yeah, we have time. It's nice. Thank you. Yes, I don't see any microphones. I will repeat the question. Yeah. Okay, great question. The difference between a Gantt chart and a schedule chart is the Gantt chart is assigning tasks to, yeah, tasks to people, whereas this is the other way around. You do tasks to resources. That's the difference. Uh, that's a great question because initially I also did start with a Gantt chart. The difference is, uh, let's do Bryntum Gantt. Okay. So the difference is the XY axis. The examples. Okay. Yeah, it's so this is like a PM management tool. You're not assigning tasks against resources. That's the difference. No, this is versatile as well. Yeah, it just doesn't have the constraints. Yep, it does. Um, yeah, that's why I always start with an example because it's so much work put in it. There's so much UI, and you know, to get it done from scratch, it would require a lot of effort. So that's why they also have so many examples. So you can find an example that it might be unique. Let's say this one, for example. This is not a classic Gantt chart. Maybe the right section, but the left section is not a classic one. The thing about this is you can customize it however you want. You can create like in the down section, in the lower section, you can create something else. You can add a map. You can add whatever you want, information about the project as well. No other questions? Okay, this means I explained it. Yeah, okay, please hit me. No, it's not a FileMaker card window, correct. So if you go to the documentation, bring, yep, good question. Okay, great question. So, um, where are you? I have a nice, uh, okay, um, I think this is the one, maybe. No, that's not the one. Maybe this one. Anyhow, I had an example, but I forgot where it was. Um, um, let's get another example. So, what we're using is an event listener that whenever the data changes, send me the data. So that's it. So the buttons, they just think of it like this is a UI backend separation model. So this web component has an event listener that whenever the data changes, it will give you the data. So we don't care what the buttons do. We just care the data. And if you, that's a great question. If you add, so you can add your own fields in that. Um, and you're right. What happens if I add a field? What we're doing is we are storing everything as one JSON. Um, so what this does is it's one field. It's like a graph database essentially. Uh, so this allows us to, if you add more fields, you don't need to add them in FileMaker as well. And there is one. What we're doing here is there is one field that grabs the incoming payload and just patches with the existing. So the JSON input is whenever the data changes, the payload is going to be set in that field, and there is an auto-enter calculation that every time it patches the existing value in the JSON field with the JSON input value. So you always have this growing object, and you can add whatever you want, and it will everything that is supported by the web component, it's going to be supported by FileMaker as well because we don't have fields. Actually, this technique is used in auto the FileMaker side of Auto. Yes, auto deploy. This is where I got the idea from. Because you're going to do schema changes, Bryntum is going to update the web component, but they're not going to change the table. So that's why we do that. Yep. There are more than one ways to integrate that. Um, you can have a proper, proper another database if you want to, but there is a way to integrate with inline data. This is what we are using. So if you go to the documentation, you'll see various ways to integrate, to synchronize the front end with your back end. And there is a way that is called inline data, which is the one we are using that offers a dot on change, something like that, an event listener that just sends you the changes only. So it's a delta thing, and you can use that with React. So if you start from scratch, I'm using vanilla JS, but there is a starting point with React. There is a starting point with Angular. Um, there are starting points for more than Vue. Yeah, Vue, the other one. Thank you. Thank you. Really? Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. I thought three was the and I was putting pressure on me. Yeah. Okay. No, we can definitely, if you want to, we can go through the customization process. Okay, great. Okay, you're using the FM add-on. Okay, interesting. Can you drag and drop on the? Yeah, doesn't matter. Yep, should be good now. Okay. Yep, great. Okay. Um, so if you want to customize it, let's go step by step. I'm just going to go to my terminal, cd to my documents folder, and let's create a new. Um, let's just clone the repository from here. Where are you? Just grab the URL from here and use the terminal command git clone this. Already exists. Okay, let's create a test dir. Oops. Okay. So I just cloned the repository in my documents folder, and um, it's right here. So now next step is to do an npm install just to install the dependencies that we have. So npm install, that will just install all the node modules in our npm package.json, which is vit, fmgopher, fmmock, um, and our npm thing. So the next thing is there is a placeholder add example here, so you cannot miss it. And I will just take an example. Let's do the drag drag from grid. I can just copy this repository. I think it's going to be easier if I just take this from here and just copy it in the source folder, and that's it. So now if I do npm run dev, I can start working on my example. So one more thing, in the add-on you will install, there is a global variable flag to enter the development mode, and that is global variable debug. So if I just go to my data viewer, I have a text expansion which is dd and semicolon, and I'll just set my debug global variable to 1, and doing so will just, oops, instead of loading the web component that is inside the field, yep, it's just going to load from my my local host. So now it's not working. Let's see why it doesn't. Can't find it. Sorry? Yes, I'm. Yeah, I set it up this way the first time, and I don't want to change it now. You're correct. Actually, you know what? That's a great question. Actually, I'll explain why. So what I'm doing here is, in my HTML, I create a meta tag and I say the dev URL is there. And this is how I tell FileMaker which URL to load while in development mode. So there is a custom function that parses the meta dev URL, and if you're in debug, this is why it goes to that URL. And the default way of it was changing the port every time that I was setting up a development server. Yeah, I don't know why. Or sometimes it changed. So I set it up manually, and when I was searching for this, I just took it. Someone suggested this, and I didn't really care. So this is why it's 3,000 or 5,000 something. So let's go read the documentation. So we brought the source folder in our project. So we are right here. We added the example files to the example folder, and inside the source index HTML, we just need to remap the project, or we can just create another folder and say example, for example. Example, for example. And that should work. Let's see. Nope, doesn't work. Um, no, no, it's okay. Uh, let's just follow the documentation. Let's go back here. Okay, I'm going to move the example in my source folder, and let's open index.html and start doing the replacements. It says remove this and replace with that. I'm just going to search for this. Nothing. Maybe in the app module. Go to the app module JS and replace this with that. Okay, let's go to app module JS. Search for that. Okay, doesn't exist. Great. And that should work actually. Let's try once again. Where's my source? Okay. Okay. Let's just try another example. Not sure what's happening here. Um, I'll just grab another example. Let's say the flight dispatch and go to my source folder. Um, just paste that. And this is how easy you can do other examples as well. Yeah, it's funny because, okay, yep. So this is the starting point. This is loading the data from the project folder, not FileMaker. So now the next step would be to add our driver. So to do that, you just need to enclose the above line inside an async function and add the data parser at the start. So um, you need to find the initialization of the scheduler. Yes, this is how it works. That's why we also use fmgopher, because it's a promise-based thing. Um, okay, find initialization. Let's scheduler. Okay, I'm just going to find scheduler. Not here. Where are you, scheduler? Ah, that's an interesting one. Okay, sometimes the scheduler is not using the so sometimes they extend the scheduler object and they call it something else. In this case, flights. So, but the process is the same, because the what you need to do is just do that to load the data, and then you need to add that for the event listener. Where is it? Where are you? Get FM props. Okay, let's copy this. Let's find the initialization. This is the one, the resource model. Okay. Well, that was the most complicated I could get, and I need to enclose that. So you would do something like that, and you would get the initialization, which should be the scheduler, and in this case, it's the aircraft. Let's just search for the new. It's using the new schedule. Okay. Yeah, this is it. So I'll just take this code from here, the scheduler initialization, and I'm just going to add it in here. And there's an issue somewhere. And it doesn't work. Anyhow, we are out of time. Well, I will update the repository with why this is not working, but this is a process. The add-on doesn't work. May I? Ah, you need to open it with
With
FileMaker 31. Yeah,
well, no, don't worry. I have one. Okay, because with
the other one.
okay, stay with them. Don't worry.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I will try at home. Don't worry.
No, no, let's do it now.
No, because this is it doesn't work. No, 20. I need to do it with 2021.
Yes.
Okay, I will.
Or you can just.
Not close this.
Is this one?
Yes, this is another one. Okay.
Okay. For this one, you can. Let's just remove the check because it's in our script.
Okay.
It's just here.
Okay, perfect.
Just do that for now. Oops.
It's
Where's the disable? Ooh,
oh,
nice. Okay. So
okay.
now if you run this, it will start. It will. It.
I have to stay to be here.
Yeah, yeah. To the web components.
Web components.
Yep.
Okay. Is this one? Add sample data. Okay,
So in
perfect.
the 21 version,
It's
it's not going to update the data because the write operations were not available in
okay.
the 20 version.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, I will
Let's
play
go
with it.
to the initial. Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. I will play with it.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Thank you
Great.
very
Thank you.
much.